My people, have you ever seen sugar cut deeper than a knife? Tonight, Okoro's peaceful compound becomes a battlefield of smiles and spoons. For months, Adama swallowed Ngozi's insults like bitter herbs. But on this market day, her sweetness turned sharp. Ngozi strikes first, shouting, "Did you fetch husband from the market?" Adama smiles and replies softly, "Maybe he just likes variety." Laughter shakes the village. Okoro the hunter is now the hunted. The festival is coming, and fire and sugar will clash like thunder and rain. Stay with me. My people, you know what they say, when pepper enters the eye, even sugar cannot wash it away. Adama was a gentle woman, but gentle people have a limit. For many months, she endured Ngozi's thunder, the shouting, the spoon-waving, the insults that could cut through Iroko wood. She swallowed them with her shy smile. But one day, that smile began to sharpen. It happened during a market day. The sun was high, the smell of roasted maize floated in the air, and the women were haggling over palm oil. Adama bought fresh vegetables, carried them gracefully on her head, and walked back home. Villagers watched her and murmured, "Okoro's second wife walks like river water, smooth and calm." Ngozi heard those whispers too. And her tongue, it was ready like a loaded catapult. The moment Adama entered the compound, Ngozi clapped her hands 3 times and shouted, "Adama, where have you been since morning? Did you go to fetch husband from the market?" Adama lowered her eyes, her voice sweet like fresh palm wine. "Madam Ngozi, I only went to buy vegetables." Ngozi hissed, her arms akimbo. "Vegetables? Do you think you are the only woman who knows how to cook soup in this village? I was cooking before you even stopped crawling." Now, my people, here is where Adama's sugar became sharp. She smiled gently, bowed her head, and said softly, "Yes, Madam Ngozi. But when you cook, husband sometimes sneaks to lick my pot. Maybe he likes variety." That one landed like arrow in the heart. The villagers outside the fence nearly collapsed in laughter. One man slapped his thigh, "This Adama has finally spoken." Another whispered, "What don't start oh?" Ngozi's eyes widened like hot coals. "What did you just say?" she screamed, raising her spoon again. Adama only smiled and adjusted her wrapper. "I said variety is good. Even the gods eat both yam and plantain." The laughter outside doubled. Even the children sang a new line. First wife shouts, second wife smiles, hunter runs for many miles. From that day, Adama began to fight differently. Not with shouts, not with spoons, but with sweetness that cut deeper than any insult. When Ngozi scolded, Adama would greet her kindly in front of the villagers, "Thank you, senior wife, for teaching me patience." When Ngozi rolled her eyes, Adama would bring palm wine for Okoro and say loudly, "Let husband drink before he faints from stress." Ngozi nearly fainted herself with anger. "Okoro, can you not see this pretender? She is using smile to control you." But Okoro, my people, Okoro was lost. He enjoyed Ngozi's fiery soup but also licked Adama's honeyed words. He could not choose, and he could not rest. At night, he lay awake, sweating, wondering which wife would kill him first, Ngozi with her spoon or Adama with her sugar. One evening, when the moon shone bright, the wives clashed again. Ngozi shouted, "Okoro, your second wife is lazy. She sleeps like a tortoise." Adama laughed softly, "If I am a tortoise, then you are the drum that never stops beating." Loud, but empty inside. The villagers screamed with laughter, rolling on the ground. Even Okoro nearly laughed, until Ngozi caught him with her fiery eyes. He coughed quickly and pretended to be serious. But my people, this was just the beginning. Adama's sweetness had become her weapon, and Ngozi's fire was burning hotter every day. The compound was no longer a home, it was a battleground, where every smile and every hiss carried arrows. And Okoro, the hunter who thought 2 wives would be blessings, was now the hunted. The war drums grew louder. The village waited, eager for the day when fire and sugar would clash like thunder and rain. My people, when 2 wives fight, the compound shakes. But when their quarrel reaches the market, the whole village shakes with laughter. It started on a bright market day. The sun was shining, women were shouting over baskets of pepper, goats were bleating, and drums in the distance announced the arrival of traders. Ngozi arrived first, her wrapper tied tightly, her face like thundercloud. She carried a basket of yams, slamming them down so hard the dust jumped. Moments later, Adama entered the market, smiling gracefully, carrying vegetables neatly arranged, her steps calm like river water. The villagers' eyes darted from one to the other, waiting. Everyone knew the storm was coming. How, one woman whispered to her neighbor. Today we will not need drummer troupe. Ngozi and Adama will perform free of charge. Ngozi saw Adama selling tomatoes and immediately her tongue sharpened. She shouted across the market, Adama, are you sure those tomatoes are ripe? Or are you pretending again, like you pretend to be humble in the compound? The market woman gasped and turned to Adama. Adama only smiled, adjusting her head tie. Madam Ngozi, my tomatoes are as fresh as my patience. Some people should come and buy, so they will learn freshness. Laughter erupted from the crowd. A man clapped his hands and shouted, Iwo. She has answered her. Ngozi hissed, her eyes flashing. She raised one yam high in the air and yelled, let me tell you all, this girl is nothing but sugar water. Sweet in front, but it will give you stomachache later. But Adama, oh, she was ready. She laughed softly and said, and what of pepper soup, Madam Ngozi? Sweet at first, but burns the throat after. Some people here are pepper soup wives. The market nearly collapsed with laughter. Women bent double, traders slapped their knees, and even goats bleated louder, as if they were laughing too. Ngozi dropped her yam basket with a bang and shouted, Adama, stop using that your sugar tongue. Okoro will soon see through you. He will know who truly cooks for him, who truly washes his clothes, who truly. But before she could finish, Adama interrupted, still smiling, yes, Madam Ngozi, you cook, you wash, you fight, you shout. Leave something for me now. The market roared. One young boy sang out. First wife is pepper soup, second wife is sugar stew, Hunter is confused, what shall he do? Even the elders, who usually pretended to be serious, were wiping tears of laughter from their eyes. By the time Okoro arrived at the market, holding his bar proudly as usual, the whole place was already boiling. He entered just as Ngozi pointed at Adama and screamed, choose today, Okoro. Tell this girl she is nothing. Okoro, foolish hunter, stood in the middle, sweating like palm wine under sun. He scratched his head and stammered, Ngozi, Adama, peace is good. Let us not disgrace ourselves. But the villagers shouted back, no. Choose. Tell us, who cooks better? Who makes you sleep better? Who is the true wife? Okoro froze like a lizard caught on a hot wall. His lips trembled, but no sound came out. Ngozi's eyes blazed like fire. Adama's smile glowed like moonlight. The market went silent, waiting. Then one villager whispered, this is better than wrestling festival. Another said, may the gods give Okoro strong liver, if not, today he will die here. My people, it was clear. The war of the wives had spilled from Okoro's compound into the streets. And once a Okoro enters the market, it no longer belongs to the family, it belongs to everyone. From that day, the gossip spread faster than bushfire. Every house, every palm wine joint, every moonlight gathering was filled with talk of Okoro's two wives. Some people took Ngozi's side, praising her fire. Others sided with Adama, praising her sweetness. But all agreed on one thing, Okoro was trapped in the middle, like a rat between two cats. And as the moon rose that night, the villagers said to one another, let us wait for the festival. If these two wives fight in the market like this, what will happen when the drums beat and the dancing starts? The whole village smiled, knowing the real drama was yet to come. The festival of the harvest had finally arrived. The whole village was buzzing with excitement, drums thundered, flutes whistled, children ran around with roasted maize, and elders sat with calabashes of palm wine, nodding their heads to the rhythm. This was not just any festival. This was the time when every wife showed her husband's pride. A man's dignity was judged by how well his wife dressed, sang, danced, and carried herself. So you can imagine, for Okoro, with 2 wives, this festival was not just celebration. It was Judgment Day. Ngozi came out first. She tied 2 wrappers, red and black, swinging her waist as if she was fighting the earth itself. Her beads rattled like war drums. She had painted her eyes dark and sharp, ready for battle. People whispered, "Ngozi has come to fight." Moments later, Adama appeared. Her outfit was soft blue, flowing like river water. Her waist beads glistened, her anklets jingled gently, and she walked with a calm smile that drew sighs from men and envy from women. People gasped, "Adama is glowing like moonlight." Okoro, the poor hunter, stood in the middle, sweating through his festival cloth. "Gods of the land, why me? Why 2 wives? Why not just one trouble?" he muttered under his breath. The drums began. The wives joined the women's dance circle, but instead of moving in harmony, they danced as if they were in a wrestling match. Ngozi stamped her feet hard, making the ground shake. Adama glided smoothly, her steps like floating leaves. Ngozi clapped her hands loud, throwing her head back. Adama moved softly, waving her arms like a graceful bird. The crowd began taking sides. Some shouted, "Ngozi, pepper soup wife. Fire in the body." Others called, "Adama, sweet tongue wife. Queen of coolness." Okoro's ears buzzed like a beehive. He tried to clap for both, but when he clapped for Ngozi, Adama's eyes narrowed. When he clapped for Adama, Ngozi nearly broke her ankle with rage. Then came the singing contest. Ngozi raised her voice first, loud and thunderous. "A good wife walks, a good wife fights. A good wife gives her husband strength at night." The men roared with laughter, slapping their thighs. Okoro nearly choked on his saliva. Adama stepped forward, her voice sweet and calm. "A good wife suits, a good wife smiles. A good wife makes the journey worth the miles." The women clapped and ululated, some shouting, "Adama for queen." Ngozi could not take it. She pushed into the circle and shouted, "Adama, stop pretending. You think this sweetness will last? One day, Okoro will see your true face." Adama, still smiling, replied, "At least he will not faint from my shouting before that day comes." The crowd howled. Palm wine spilled as men laughed till their bellies ached. Children rolled on the ground, chanting, "First wife is thunder, second wife is rain." Okoro's head is beating like drum again. Just then, the drummers, sensing the drummer, increased the beat, dum-dum, kpa. Dum-dum, kpa. Ngozi spun around wildly, trying to outdance Adama. But her wrapper loosened mid-spin and began to fall. "Ewo," the crowd shouted. Ngozi grabbed it just in time, but not before half the village saw her shaking waist. Adama seized the moment, dancing gracefully in tiny steps, her beads jingling perfectly in time with the drum. The crowd went wild, clapping and cheering. Ngozi's face turned red with fury. She stormed toward Adama and shouted, "You think you have won? You think this dance means Okoro will choose you? Never." The drum stopped. The crowd went silent. Everyone's eyes turned to Okoro. There he stood, sweating, trembling, holding his calabash of palm wine like it was the last rope holding him to life. "Ngozi. Adama," he stammered. "You are both, wonderful, I cannot." But before he could finish, one drunken elder shouted, "Okoro, choose now before these women tear the village apart." The crowd joined in, "Choose. Choose. Choose." Okoro's lips quivered. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. His knees knocked together. The wives glared at him, their eyes sharper than arrows. The suspense was hotter than fresh pepper soup. The villagers leaned forward, waiting. Then suddenly, poof! The festival torches flickered, the drums rolled, and something unexpected happened that no one saw coming. The village square froze. The crowd held its breath. Okoro stood sweating, his two wives glaring like lions ready to pounce. The drunken elder's voice still echoed in the air. Choose. 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 But before Okoro could croak out an answer, a sudden gust of wind swept through the festival. The torches flickered, the drums roared to a stop, and the flutes squeaked to silence. From the edge of the square, a tall stranger emerged. His shadow stretched long under the moonlight, and he carried a staff carved with strange markings. His wrapper was simple, but his presence was powerful. Children clutched their mothers. Men swallowed their palm wine the wrong way. Women whispered, "Who is this?" A spirit. A traveler. A masquerade without mask. To be continued. This story is beyond the one experiencing it. Okoro will see more pepper than what it is already. To see more, please like, comment, share and most importantly subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Hello brother, did I hear you say you wanna marry 2 wives? Let me know in the comment section and let me predict the future. Don't play or you gonna learn.